welcome back to all our listeners on YouTube and Spotify. We're Bros from Another More. My name is Said Kirblai, and you are?
Dharamveer Singh.
Yeah, so we're brothers from another mother, and this episode is episode 4, and we're going to be talking about religion. Before we do that, would, as customary as we do in our previous episodes, is say some hellos in different languages. So I'm going to say hello, salam, shalom, namaste, ardavarse, and then I'll pass over to you. Sat Sri Akal, Dharamveer.
Sat Sri Akal, bonjour, buongiorno, hola, and ni hao.
Thank you. Definitely thanked everybody there, and hello to everybody. But also, just as customary as we do in our previous episodes, thank you to Liam Bailey, who's instrumental in helping us launch these podcasts, editing, and basically the production of these podcasts and the YouTubes. So no, thank you for that, and then thank you to Treble PT, to obviously the Edinburgh Sikh community, and the Gurdwara. Scottish Alabama Society and others. Anybody else that you would want to say?
Yeah, definitely Edinburgh Interfaith, and I would say obviously Edinburgh Gurdwara. Yeah, definitely those two.
That's great. And also I think Interfaith Scotland as well, because they did so much for all the different faiths in Scotland as well. So this, as I said, this is episode 4, and we'll be talking about religion. And in episode 2, we discussed faith. And then episode 3, we discussed interfaith. So it's kind of important that, just to clarify that. And so this is quite a heavy topic. We're going to be talking about religion, and we're going to be building up to this. And it's all important to kind of distinguish between all of them. And I previously have given definitions for what is meant by faith and interfaith, using the Oxford Dictionary definitions. This time, I'm not going to do that, because we're going to be talking about religions. And so I think, it would be good for those listeners out there who, don't know what religions we belong to. Dharamveer, do you want to tell a little bit about your Sikh religion?
Yep, so I belong to the Sikh religion. Some people know that, some people don't. And that's part of the way I dress as well, as part of the Sikh religion. So I practice since I was 22 properly, because before that I was just part of a Punjabi family. Obviously, I was born in a Sikh family, but it didn't make me religious. Where I really truly found the light about 22, 23, then I started practicing the Sikh religion, the Sikh faith.
That's really helpful, just for that background and that context. For those listeners out there don't know about the Sikh faith, so what does that involve for you? A typical day, for example, today, just because it'll be fresh in your mind. What does that mean in terms of prayer and your living day?
Yeah, so every day there's mandatory, obviously, prayers that we're given, but I don't like using the word mandatory, but it's important that we build such a relationship with God that it's lovingly, when you do something, it's done with love and, done selflessly. So in a typical morning for a Sikh, as we rise early in the morning, preferably sort of between the hours and 12 and 4 are quite nice to rise. I don't do that every day, I try my best, but early as possible, you get up in the morning to remember God. And the reason why is because that time in the morning is a time where everything's at peace. You don't tend to have too much going on at that time. People don't tend to work at that time, but you could be as well. But it's a quiet place. Normally your house is quite quiet as well. So we get up in the morning and we do 5 prayers, which basically are 5 separate prayers. And that's about a total of roughly, give or take, about an hour and a bit. Depends how you read. And then so that's 5, and then later on in the day, which is after work or after school, depending on what you're doing, we have another prayer, which is our 6th prayer. We call that evening prayer. And then after that, before going to bed, it's a way of remembering God, remembering Waheguru before going to sleep. We do another prayer, which is our then 7th prayer, and that's done just before basically hitting the pillow and going to sleep. We do recommend doing that sitting up before hitting the pillow, because you know what it's like when you had a hard day and you hit the pillow and you end up falling asleep. So now I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I'm probably going to get told off for that, but you end up trying to do your prayer while you're sitting there sleeping on the pillow, and it's like before you know it, you've actually missed it, the whole prayer. So, but that's only about a kind of 3-4 minute evening prayer, that one before going to sleep. So that's not too bad. So altogether, about all your day is sort of, and the basic is hour and a half worth of praying, basically.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks for that. For those who don't know about the Sikh religion, can you tell me about the 5Ks? Is that right?
Yeah, the 5K. So 5Ks or Panj Kakars, Panj meaning five. So yeah, I wear the uniform of the 5Ks. It's so important. So someone who's Amritdhari, that's someone who's initiated into being a practicing Sikh and who's took the oath. They'll wear the 5Ks. So basically starting from the top, the first one I say is the Ganga, which is a wooden instrument that we use to comb our hair with. You could call it a comb, but we say Ganga. It starts with a K, and we use that to comb our hair, our beard if you've got a beard. And that's always kept in my hair when I tie my top knot, which takes me to the second K, is called Gace. So Gace is uncut hair, so it's not just hair on top of my head. Gace is actually uncut hair everywhere on your body. So that's important, that as a Amritdhari, as a practicing Sikh, we must not cut our hair. So that's the second K, Gace. So Ganga and Gace, 2Ks. Third K is the Kara. So all Sikhs wear the Kara. Whether you're Amritdhari or not, whether you've took the oath or not, majority of people will wear a Kara because it's part of our Sikh identity. It kind of represents, that you are a Sikh. When you see it on your wrist, it's a physical reminder as well to do good deeds with these hands. We can get into that later on. And then the fourth K is the Kashera, which is white cotton shorts that all Sikhs wear. Have to be white, they have to be cotton, and have to be tied with a drawstring as well. That's important. And that's to basically show restraint against like lustful acts, lustful thoughts, and that's why it's tied by a drawstring. It can't be like boxer short style, like with elastic. It has to be tied with a drawstring with a tightly kind of, not too tight, so you cut the circulation. And so that's the fourth K. And the fifth K is the kirpan, and that is kirpan is a dagger, is a knife, or it could be a small sword. And I've got one right here, so I wear it all the time. And yeah, it's real and it has to be sharp, but it doesn't mean that we go around using it on people, because that's not the way we are. We are saint soldiers, so we are saintly people, and it's important to have the soldier side of you as well. But that was something that was done, in the past, in history. There was a lot of wars, and we did use the kirpan a lot now. Where now it's, it is a bit of a symbol of faith, but it is still important to recognise that it is a real kirpan, and we can't wear like wood or plastic. And it represents something really important when I touch on that, because I always emphasise and talk about the kirpan, because people obviously are quite apprehensive when they do see it, whether I'm at the school or in the street or even at work. So it's important to recognise that I'm not wearing this as a violent person. And when I put it on in the morning, I have a smaller one on I wear all the time. I wear that to bed as well. Because one thing I will say again is the 5Ks, we do not take them off our body. Obviously, the case is part of my body anyway, but we don't remove them. We always have them on us 24/7, even in the shower. We try to keep discipline off the 5Ks. So anyway, when I have the kirpan, when I put it on in the morning, it makes me think that I'm going out to battle. But that battle truly that we are fighting is that one against lust and greed and anger and attachment and ego. So that's the true battle, that when the Sikh puts that kirpan on, is to remind you, okay, I'm going out for a battle. Let's be good today. Let's be good to others. Let's be good to ourselves, and let's respect the world. So that's really importance behind the kirpan.
No, that's really heaven. I think I think it's also a part of self-reflection as well. Is that right? Is that you have to self-reflect on, and so it's not a battle of self-defense, but battle of your identity, yourself, as a Sikh. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, because when you put it on, it gives you a sense of responsibility. Like you feel like you're responsible to do the right thing as well, and that's the whole point of the 5Ks, and that's why really the Kara, going back to that, is when we see this on our wrists, for example, and I had this stupid thought of maybe stealing something, let's say from the shop, and I see the Kara fall down onto my hand, it should give me that sort of prompt to say, what are you doing? You're a Sikh of the Guru. You should be doing the right thing. You should be doing good deeds with these hands, not stealing or hitting someone for no reason or whatever it is. You should be doing good things with these hands, and that's like seva, selfless service, or helping people, whatever way you can. Use these hands, for the good.
For the Spotify listeners, there, that Kara you mean is a kind of a bangle.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought
is that right? Is that right? Would you class it as a bangle?
Yeah, so it's like a iron bangle around my wrist, basically. Yeah, so that's definitely for the guys who are listening, just for the earphones on and not watching any video.
Yeah. So again, for those who are Spotify, and to just describe your outfit.
I've got a blue sort of French navy almost colour chola on, and that's something again that it's quite traditionally used to be worn by, and with our guru's times, by the kind of the warriors of the community. And I adopted this I think 2010. I decided that I wanted to dress like this and represent being a Sikh all the time, like from visually. That was very important to me, because for me, wearing this chola is like a long robe. It's a one piece. It's got lapels on the top of the shoulder. Again, this is for the Spotify listeners. And it's got little front pockets as well to keep my wallet in or change or whatever. And it's got side pockets. It's quite practical as well. So you can store all your things and all that in there and stuff. But yeah, for me, is visually when someone sees me, yeah, I do look different. I stand out. But then they'll come up to me and they'll ask me questions on the back of seeing me, what I've got on. And that's fine. I actually like that. And I don't mind getting questions asked. If anybody wants to ask questions after these podcasts, please throw them at myself and my brother here side, and we'll answer them. But yeah, so for me, wearing this is so if someone sees me, they might come up to me in the street, and that happens to me, quite often, where, oh, what is that you've got on and why do you wear that? And then it gives me a chance to kind of tell them a little bit of who I am.
No, that's really helpful, and I think there's a couple of points I'll pick up on those. But first, so you've got a blue turban. I always call it dastar. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's right. Dastar. Again, that's a meaning behind that. Das means 10 in the Punjabi language, as we know, and tar means connection. So we believe it's because we had 10 gurus in our religion. We believe that was 10 gurus connection on our head when we put the dastar onto our head.
And it's also. Is it a sign of respect to have all your hair in your dastar then?
Yeah, it is, brother. So we have long hair, again, case, as I mentioned, uncut hair. As a Sikh, we shouldn't cut our hair. So we have long hair, which sometimes, to manage it, is really handy having a dastar, because you tie up in a top knot, and then it all gets nicely neat wrapped under the dastar, so it's all tied in, neat away, so it's not just flowing about in the wind and getting into your eyes and your mouth and your face.
So I'm sure for the YouTube listeners, you'll add some links of your videos that you've done regarding how quickly you do the dastar. I'm sure you will add those. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll definitely add them on.
Yeah. Then going down to, obviously, the next thing is your beard then. Do you want to tell the significance and importance within the religion regarding your beard?
Yeah, so the beard, I suppose, it's two things I like to see. There's twofold. So one is obviously the whole case element of not cutting our hair. But the reason is because we believe that the way Rabb, the way Waheguru, the way Allah, the way God has made us, we see it as that you made us perfect. So why should I alter that in any way? So that's the whole point of a beard, is to show that this is the way I am in natural form. I don't want to hide that from anyone. And obviously there's no, I feel, this is again my personal point of view, in case I get attacked by other listeners, is that there's no point in keeping it completely rough. You can brush it a little bit and put some oils and balms on it, 100%, because it's still good to look after you. Because to be honest with you, those balms and oils and brushing it keeps it nice and neat, but also it actually conditions it and keeps it healthy. So, that's fine. So I'll do that. Again, for those Spotify listeners, I've got quite a rough beard, but I try my best to kind of put balm and oils on to smoothen it down a little bit. But yeah, so it's those two things. It's one to say, I accept the way God's made me, that you've made me beautiful. I'll keep it that is. Another one is just to say, accepting the will that this is the way I was made. I can't alter it in any way. So, because altering it is going against the will, and inevitably it just comes back even fiercer. So it's like accepting, you know what? We'll just accept it, and that's it.
But no, that's really helpful, and I'm sure that helps a lot of listeners understand that. And I also will help to break down some barriers because of misunderstandings and whatnot. And also, you don't color your beard, do you? As for the Spotify listeners, he's got a lot of grey in his beard.
Like you like to say, brother, salt and pepper. I like that better. But yeah, I'm 42 tomorrow, and for those, it's a Saturday, we're recording this, so Sunday I'm 42, and yeah, my beard has gone quite grey. It must be genetics, obviously, but I don't mind it as well. As we don't colour it again, that comes back to the whole accepting the will. And you colour it, it'd be jet black one day, the next day, boom, it's back again. So it's like, again, you're just fighting against something you can't win. So it's like, just accept it, or else you're trying to diet till when you're 60-year-old, and everybody's like, what's wrong with him? And then you look weird. So you know what, as the old saying goes, just grow old gracefully.
Yeah. Well, no, we're trying, brother. We're trying, because I've got a lot more salt than pepper in my stuff beard, and but yeah, again for those listeners. So tell a little bit about the color blue then, and how that signifies within your religion, and also the Holy Ten.
Yeah, so the blue is quite a significant color. So a lot of Sikhs, we have particular colors in the Sikh faith, and some people say it's right, some people say it's wrong in terms of accepting certain colors for a part of our faith. But there's some meanings behind it. So, for example, white. A lot of people wear white dastar, white uniform, whatever, and the white turban is a represent show like purity. But I would say more because you can tell when it's dirty, so you know it's not pure. Because white gets dirty fast. That's why I tend not to wear a white turban. So that kind of white is that, and then and there's some actually people in the Sikh faith who just wear white only for that reason, and that's fine. And then orange, like kesari rang, which is a orange color, people wear that, and that is for basically, let's say, like a warrior color, basically warrior spirit. And so people tend to wear that even like they wear it on weddings as well. I think I've seen a lot, and then they wear it on like special programs, like divans, like services at the Gurdwara. So that's orange, and black they say color of protest. But blue, like the blues that I wear, it's a very peaceful and calming color, and because we believe it's like you try to represent the sky and the sea. So you'll see a lot of Sikhs wearing blue. It's like a very prominent color in the Sikh faith. So I tend to wear blue, and that's the kind of preferred colour for most Sikhs. If you go to a Gurdwara, especially down in England, because there's a lot more Gursikhs down there, like people who are practicing Sikhs and took the oath, there'll be a sea of blue, and that's like a beautiful scene of calmness, basically. So that's what the kind of blue represents, is that calming colour.
That's really helpful. And then, does it not also signify that you're a Khalsa, and you want to describe to the listeners what that means of being a Khalsa, and then the significance of the colour as well?
So Khalsa, so people do something call me Dharamveer Singh Khalsa. So Khalsa, again, it can mean many things. Khalsa means a pure one. So we try to be pure as possible. We only can try, and that's all we can do. And then Khalsa also means the person who's here to protect and serve. Deg. So that means to protect and serve, meaning protect humanity. If you see some wrongdoing going on, then try to help. Don't resort to violence straight away, but even if it means calling the police or talking your way out of something or helping someone, that's protect and serve. Serve meaning, langar, as you know, in the Gurdwara or the streets, we tend to give langar, so that's the concept of serving. So Khalsa means the person who's protecting and serving the community, but also the one who's tried to be as pure as possible and live a truthful life. And that's what, again, why we represent the whole blue coloured thing, is because we believe when you see the boys in blue, everything should be fine. And that's not the police, by the way. That's
That's brilliant. I like that. Also, I think for those listeners who are wondering what Dhanveer means by a langar, you can also go to episode 3, which was Interfaith, and you talked about langar and you talked about seva as well. But do you want to just briefly talk through some of those things there, building on what you said by the Khalsa, and also what does langar mean and seva?
Yeah, so langar is, some people, it's funny, I had a conversation with someone, wasn't a podcast, but I had a conversation with someone, and someone saying, we always go on about langar, is that what all the Sikh faces become now, just about langar? It's an important part, and it was created by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, our first guru, and the reason behind it was to help those people who were in need, those who were less fortunate. Now it's become a little bit of a thing that everybody should have langar. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with coming to the Gurdwara and join the divan, the service, and having langar afterwards. But it's about even saying to yourself, how much do you actually need this? Like, if it means that you can just have a little bit just for the blessing, then that's probably better. If you're going there specifically, I'm just going for the langar, then I would say that's a little bit wrong. But it's a beautiful concept. Obviously, it's built now into the foundations of the Sikh faith. So all Gurdwaras around the world, including the small one we've got here in Edinburgh, langar is available. So you come and we serve langar, and that's the whole concept of seva, selfless service, doing it from your heart. And we'll give langar out, and people can enjoy, a meal in the Sikh community. And it's vegetarian as well, so everybody can enjoy it. So there's no discrimination against any type of faith. Whether you're a Muslim or a Jewish or whatever background, or a Hindu, we'll make it a simple vegetarian dish, so 99% people can enjoy it. because obviously there is other things like dietary requirements. We try our best to meet those. Like, we even trying now to stop serving like nuts, for example, in the Gurdwara, because we know a lot of people have got nut allergies. So we used to put that beautifully in the langar into the kheer. And for those who don't know what kheer is like a sweet rice pudding that a lot of Gurdwaras will make. And it's a nice like dessert after your langar. And we used to put nice, beautiful nuts in there like pistachios and almonds. But we stopped doing that now because of the whole, the nut allergy situation. So we try our best to accommodate. But yeah, it's not all just about langar, but it is a beautiful thing that's been introduced and, a part of the Sikh, basically, faith, that we can come and enjoy a meal together. Because one last point in that langar is it brings everybody together. And it doesn't matter if you're the king or if you're the janitor. We come down, we sit on the same level, and we all enjoy a nice meal together. And that's beautiful, And we can have a good chit-chat whilst having that meal, and then we get up and leave. So that also brings folk together as well, which is a nice thing.
Just going on the points regarding langar then. So the langar is also food served within the Gurdwara, which, for those kind of rough translation is temple, but also providing that food to homeless shelters and people in need. And you were saying, you could be a king or a janitor, but also the king could serve the langar or the food to the janitor as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's beautifully put, brother, because that is a beautiful thing, and it sometimes could be a rare thing. It shouldn't be, because if you are someone on that structure of being a king and you feel, I'm a king, I shouldn't be doing this, that's when you've kind of lost the game. That's where ego kicks in, obviously, and God. So, yeah, that's 100%. And it's funny you mentioned it. I'll quickly touch on that, because the Gyani of the Gurdwara, who's the kind of in-house resident, again, loosely, just so English people can understand, is the priest of the Gurdwara, who does all the prayers and kind of looks after everything. This morning, we went down to do a bit of seva and to clean the Gurdwara, and he was there helping as well. And sometimes you get a certain Gyani, you might think, oh, I'm the Gurdwara Gyani, I shouldn't be, contributing towards this, but he was getting in there and helping out. So, yeah, if you're the king, and you can drop your ego, you can serve the janitor, you can serve the community, and that's beautiful, and that's going to enhance your well-being as well, because you're doing a nice thing. So, yeah, seeing the king doing that would be a beautiful thing.
No, that's it's a good sense of community, and the fact that the langar is not just the food, it's the community coming together, washing the dishes, cleaning, serving, everything. Is that right?
100%. Again, beautifully put, because that's what it does. It brings us. It's like, you use that as a little bit of an excuse, given the free food at the Gurdwara, as an excuse to get us together and just serve the community, getting together and learning from each other as well. And whether that's learning new things and new skills in the Gurdwara, that's what it's all about. So it brings everybody together. That's just like an excuse to bring us together, because we know food is a center of when it comes to getting together. We always like to sit down amongst food, whether it's a pizza or chips or curry, whatever it is. And so it's an important part. It is important. We just try not to make it the be and end all, because it shouldn't be about that. But it's about coming together and doing seva together as well.
Yeah, no, it's quite inspirational as well. The fact that it's community coming together, feeding anybody from any background, any socioeconomic status, and no matter your status, you all chip in, and that is what community spirit is. With regards to seva, and within the seva, there is a Pacific service as well that happens. Is that normally on a Sunday, or is it on another day, or how does that happen then?
Yeah, so we have, in Edinburgh specifically, we have 2 divans, again, loosely translating that to service. So we have 2 divans, one on Friday and one on Sunday. But we also have a Tuesday sort of late morning, afternoon one, which the Sikh women of Edinburgh organise a way for them to get in together, which is really nice. So effectively we have 3. We have one on Tuesday, kind of late morning, afternoon, and we have one on Friday and then one on Sunday. So that's 3 altogether. But Sundays are our kind of main, you can say, service day where everybody gets together. It's the busiest kind of divan that we have. And that runs from Everybody's Welcome, who would listen to this podcast. That runs from 10:30 to 12:30 every Sunday. And on Friday night, we have from 6:30 to 8:30. And then on a Tuesday, I think it's about 11:30 till about 2, I think, on a Tuesday. So you're more than welcome to pop along and enjoy that.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful for the listeners to hear, and hopefully they will attend. And obviously, the Sunday is probably the busiest day because it's a weekend, and some people don't work on the weekends. Some people do, but then they can either come up before or after. And how, shall we say, the footfall, the amount of people coming through the door, how has it changed pre-COVID and then post-COVID?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, because pre-COVID, it was very busy. And, you know, there was times where we had people sitting outside in the sort of the hallway area and even on the stairs and things because it was that busy. Post-COVID, things have changed ever so slightly, and I think that's to do with several factors. I would say one, people lost faith slightly through COVID. Two, some people thought, do I really need to come to the Gurdwara now? I was doing things without the Gurdwara during COVID time, which is sad. And then I would say the third one is cost of living has caused a lot of problems. So the reason I mention that is because a lot of people used to enjoy doing Langar Seva, like, you know, coming and actually contributing, buying the stuff for the Langar and preparing it and things. A lot of people have backed off of that because things have gone expensive, understanding. So I'm not judging anybody, by the way, on that note, because it is hard. Prices have gone skyrocketed, and it's quite difficult now compared to previously, even before COVID. The prices have changed drastically. So I think those three things have played a big effect, which now, so in terms of your question with the footfall, it has lessened down compared to before pre-COVID times.
And I think, you know, for the listeners, both on Spotify and YouTube, will be interested to hear that, because I think, you know, you probably had similar conversations, you know, across the interfaith with other religions. Have you had any so similar conversations?
Yeah, because it was quite worrying, and I was quite stressed out by it, because I'm quite like a Gurdwara goer. I'm quite there quite often. And I was speaking to, obviously, friends, you know, from Christian background and things, and I suppose everybody has noticed a similar thing. And I think it's been happening even pre-COVID, but it's getting worse now, where a lot of the churches, the Gurdwaras, I'm not sure about the mosques, maybe you answer that one, but the footfall has went down ever so slightly. I know there's a Jewish, which a synagogue, synagogue. Yeah. One of my friends from there, he was even telling me, that footfall has kind of cut down a little bit. And so I think it's across the board, which is a shame. And, you know, that's the whole point of Edinburgh Interfaith and Interfaith Scotland, is trying to bring us together and solve some of these problems. So I think it's a beautiful thing having Interfaith, because, you know, we're all in the same boat at the end of the day. And we're trying to understand what's actually happened. Why is it people not coming into places of worship anymore? Not sure I don't answer, I'm just actually asking myself that.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, to quote the film Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat, you know, because I think all the religious institutions are all suffering from this. But that's why religious buildings, be Gurdwara, be a synagogue, be a church, be a mosque, they're supposed to be centers of the community. And it's for community to get together and have a catch-up with themselves. In the Muslim faith, Jummah, which is a Friday, the Friday prayers are done in the mosque. But again, you know, the mosque ruler had reduced numbers for various different reasons. Going back to what you were saying regarding cost of living, it's quite important then to then connect that back to what you were saying to the Langar as well. In affordability of people contributing to allow the Langar for this food to be prepared and provided to those who are coming to the Gurdwara. But also the flip side of that is, if you help the Gurdwara deliver the Langar, you are also benefiting from that as well, because you're benefiting by being with the community and having the Langar, the food, but also the less fortunate people who are really struggling with the cost of living, you know. So what's your takes on that then?
Yeah, no, very good point. It can be hard. There's ways around it, you know, the ways of saying, okay, if you can't solely provide, let's all get together and collectively provide. So, and you're right, the bigger picture is that you are obviously still getting to eat as well, but you're helping people who are, you know, as much as we may think we're struggling, there's people out there who are really struggling, like I said, who are hitting food banks. And I've even heard of professionals, you know, hitting food banks. And this is sad. I think you told me that, you know, not so long ago, that people you think who work in normal jobs and who actually look like from the face of it are doing well, they're hitting food banks because things have gone, you know, that bad in terms of cost of living. So I think you're willing to try our best, but collectively, as a community, of any community, we can all try our best. And I think we need to lower expectations as well, because one thing I will touch on is Lunga are starting to become a wee bit too much extravagant, and I think we're losing the focus. And it's not about that. It's keeping it simple. It's about at least having something to eat, whether it's simple dal, which is lentils, and rotia, which is chapatis. Yeah. That's enough, and something we've taken to a level, I need to make this, I need to make that, I need to do this, I need to do that. No, not really. It's about keeping it simple and just feeding people, and that's it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. If it becomes a thing about status, I'm giving more to get this cooked or in my name, then you defeat the purpose. And then the flip side of that, nobody can manage those expectations. Then it becomes a competition to say, I'm going to do it better. So you must have seen that in your experience, though. But people start competing to say, I'm going to do more. By keeping it simple, everybody benefits. And that goes back to your religion of, it's not about status. It's about giving to the community. And if you, as you said, if you can't contribute solely, you shouldn't really be. It should be done as a community. It should be have a community fund, And so what are your thoughts on those points?
I just wish everybody thought like that as a brother, because it's so true. Because as a community, we should be looking at whatever, even if you're giving £2, but collectively, if we all give £2 and that goes to the Gurdwara, that's so easy to feed people. But yeah, again, it comes back to that ego thing, is that people think, okay, so last week he made kheer with, so I don't know if you've heard of this, saffron. It's like I don't know what you call it, a spice or whatever, but like a red kind of. Yeah. So Google that, whoever's listening to this. So they put that into it, and they go, I put saffron into it, change the colour. So it's like, to be honest with you, I don't see any difference with the saffron. I've seen people put it in, and you can't even taste anything. I don't know what it does. Maybe it does stuff good for your health. I don't know, but it's expensive. I can tell you that. A little wee tub costs you about £6. I'm talking about 2 grains or something. So
yeah.
So I just about saying you don't need the saffron, and I think that's what's happening. Keep it simple. We're all in competition with each other, and this is what destroys us. It's a competition. It's not healthy.
Yeah, no, that's quite interesting. Let's talk about competition. I'm going to connect this as best as I can to religion. Okay, right?
Oh yeah, good point.
So competition. It's not because my God is better than your God, right? So it's Guruji, which you say, right, which is God or is Allah. But at the end of the day, there's either you believe in God of some form or some kind of deity, or you're an atheist or you're agnostic and you don't believe in that. But you must believe in something. You must believe in yourself, even if you don't believe in. But the thing is that competition. You must come across people from different, obviously not through interfaith, because they're doing a really good job trying to bring these divisions to one side and put unity back in. But you must have, how to explain your religion to so many people in the past to say, no, it's not like my God's better than your God type thing.
Yeah, you do see yourself saying that so many times, because some people have lost their way, and I think they don't realise that we're all on use your analogy, on the same boat. So we are getting in a bigger boat so we can all swim and enjoy the boat together, because that's what it's all about. It's about enjoying God together, because we're all part of that same entity. We're all part of that same energy. So let's enjoy the energies together and come together and actually have the one big bang, and have a big energy together. So I thought I'd just throw that in, but too much going on in terms of...
No, I think that's beautiful. I think in episode 3, we talked about interfaith. So I'm just going to touch on this lightly, but if anybody else wants to listen to the episode, you can listen to our discussion about interfaith. But I remember there's a metaphor you said regarding the flowers in the vase. Do you want to just rehash that a little bit?
Yeah, well, because I use that all the time. I actually say that constantly, and I go to talks and things, because I think it just makes so much sense that, the world is like one big vase, and in that vase is a big bunch of flowers, and it's not just a bunch of roses, a bunch of flowers. It's one of those expensive ones that, you get from these expensive flower shops that
different flowers, different
flowers, yeah. Not the ones you get in Asda. I'm talking about ones in the fancy flower shops. And, and there could be carnations, could be roses, could be tulips, could be whatever it is. But they're all beautiful in their own way. They look different, but they're all beautiful. And we don't say, oh, that flower's horrible. Even the carnations, we'll look at, they're nice carnations. So everybody is like a flower, and the different types of flowers, different kinds of, you can say, scents that come from them. But they're still beautiful. So let's accept everybody and just enjoy being in that vase together.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and the vase that all these flowers, all these different faiths are together in the vase, and I think I then said something like we were talking about education, and I said that the water in the vase could be the education, to educate people, which you do, at schools, and again, people listeners can listen to episode 3 where we talked about interfaith and all the work that you've done there. But then I thought about as we were speaking just now, but the vase itself, right? The vase itself. What could you say with that metaphor? The vase itself. So the flowers are all the different religions. The water is the education, but I feel like the unity is the vase. Okay, us to have unity amongst all the different faiths, and through education, which is the water, and there's a vase that keeps us together.
Yeah, that's really nicely put. That's perfect.
I think we've talked about this before, and maybe not through this podcast, but through our various conversations, Naveer, over the years, as my brother from another faith and religion. But we have talked about things which are really important to us in the religion, and we talked about compassion, empathy, humility, charity. Do you want to talk about each of these things in terms of? I think we've covered some of them regarding what happens in the Gurdwara, but do you want to firstly talk about charity, then about empathy, compassion, and then humility within the religion?
Yeah. So we probably, like we've all mentioned, these podcasts, there is so many links from the previous podcast. That's the whole point. This is the way it's been set up. So forgive us if some things sound the same, but it's not. It's from a different perspective. So this is a more religious perspective now. So in terms of charity, charity is such an important thing, and I think it's important from any religion really, but from a Sikh part of faith, we are told that it's important to try to give a daswand is a donation of 10% from your earnings. So there's so many ways of looking at it. Some people say that's physically your actual 10% of your money, and that is important. If you can physically do that, that is the best thing ever. And the whole point of that, which is I found out just quite recently, even though when I thought of it, it makes sense, but someone said it to me and it was beautiful. And what it is, the whole point of the 10% thing is that it keeps you grounded. Because we've come of a world now where we just want more and more and more, and we don't know what the end limit is. So the Sikh faith, the Sikh religion brought this into it, was that if you just give that 10%, it brings you back down a level ever so slightly. Because we have come of a world that even if we say, just say for example, to use an example of this, you only need £100, just to keep the math simple. For me, you only need £100 a month to survive. Like, I mean, properly of everything, your TV, your house, your rent, your bills, everything. And then for some reason, you're so fortunate to get 110. We should have the mindset to give that £10 to someone else who's maybe only at 90, for example. By giving them the 10, they will be 100 as well. And then the person who you've given it to, they should be doing the same. So that's the whole point of charity giving. It's not just giving it thinking, I'll just give this guy £100 and you feel proud of yourself. No, because that's not going to do nothing for that person. It should be said, how can I help him be in the same level as me? And then how can he help the next person be the same level as him? And so forth. And that's a beautiful world. But we don't think that. We think, I don't want 110, I want 120. And other guys say, I don't want 120, I want 130. And then that guy's got 30, he's now living in the Bahamas. And there's no need. He was happy in Edinburgh, but now he wants to be lavish lifestyle in the Bahamas. And the guy, he's living in the streets because there's other person living in the Bahamas. It's unfair. And that's the whole point of this one. That's the whole point of giving.
That's really helpful then, and I think that that charity is quite important, and it's for social, economic, community benefits, and it's not competition, guys. It's not competition, It's we can talk about it in future podcasts, but yeah, it's not a competition. Do you want to talk a little bit about compassion within the religion? Let the listeners know what your views are as part of the religion.
Yeah, so that ties in nicely with the charity giving. You have to have compassion. If you don't have compassion, that means you don't then feel it for someone else. Like, I feel like when I see someone struggling, my compassion kicks in and I feel like I need to do something for this person. Sometimes it may leave me short, but then I think, oh, fine, it'll come back. Whatever I've given, it'll come back. And again, that's a really good mindset to have, that inevitably it will come back. And the same thing about, for example, when people say, you hear people saying this, oh, you better not steal that because it will come back on you. And it's true, it will. One way down the line, that will come off you. If you stole £10 from someone, for example, that £10 will get taken off you from somewhere else. And I've witnessed that, So compassion, you have to have compassion. You have to be able to say that, you know what, we're on this life for a short time. And if I can't show compassion to someone, to see someone and help someone, enhance someone's life, whether that's through education or money given, then are you truly a man of faith? Do you actually understand your purpose in life if you have no compassion for someone, or compassion even for your community or for the world, even through this whole now climate crisis, for example? Do you have any compassion towards what's going on? Compassion is such a beautiful thing. I think everybody should have it. It's important.
No, I totally agree, and I think that brings us nicely to empathy. So empathy is everything you said, but also feeling for, put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, no. If you can't feel that, then there's something obviously missing. Something's not quite right if you can't feel any empathy for someone who is struggling, especially when you've got the ability to help others. I think then there's something missing. So it's important to channel that energy, and again, it's not about leaving yourself short or struggling yourself. It's about, I can do something for this person, then do it. Show empathy. Show a little bit of empathy. And sometimes even it's about showing empathy to yourself. If you're struggling and overstretching yourself, is having empathy in yourself that you can't always be there for someone, but try your best as much as you can. Utilize your time. As you always say, brother, then organize yourself a bit better as well so you can make the efforts.
Yeah, I'm sure we talk about that in future episodes.
Yeah, we will.
So that brings us nicely on to humility, and how does that feature within the religion?
So I can cut these both things. So Seva makes someone that who gives the humility to someone. Because humility is about, you got to remember, humility can also be ego, so you need to be careful with it. But it's about when, for example, using an example now, this morning I went to the Gurdwara, I went to do Seva and thank Guru for letting me give me the opportunity. I'm not saying that ego, and I really do truly mean that, and only I'll know what I'm saying is true, because some people can see that he's being egotistic. I am not, I promise you. Egotistic would be mean telling you exactly what I did, how I did it, why I did it, and
but again, it's that the measure of competition. You're always competing. Like not you, but some people do compete between religions, and then they compete within the community, and then they compete to say, look at me, and so that's goes against the principles. Is that right?
Yeah. No, 100%. It is. That all ties very nicely. So humility is saying, I'm going to go in. I don't want anybody to tell me what I need to do. I'm just going to get it done. And that's showing a wee bit of humility. Humility is also, walking in the Gurdwara, but you have to come in with that kind of, we say man niva matmuti, which means you have to have your thoughts low, but be like standing proud, but not in an egotistically way. And that's what it's all about. Is humility is about just being being humilitable. Is it? I don't know if that's the right word, but
being humble. Yeah, being
humble. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, it's a bit of being humble. Yeah. Humility is a bit of being humble, but that being egotistic.
Yeah, and also that brings us nicely to we've talked about your religion, which is the Sikh religion. So that brings me nicely to my religion, which is Islam. And people have a lot of misconceptions out there, and all this links us nice back to the Islam. You class as a Muslim if you follow the 5 pillars of Islam. The first one, I'm going to put in different order. So the first one I'm going to put down, the first pillar is the fasting during Ramadan. Okay. The second one is zakat, which means giving charity, so giving to the poor. And also as part of Ramadan, we do that as well. So if anybody has missed any fasting days, Shahada, which is a declaration of the belief in one true God. Okay, and this is where this competition goes on. So I'm not talking about a competition. It's just saying we believe in one God. Salah, which is prayer 5 times a day facing Mecca. So those 5 prayers is facing Mecca 5 times a day at dawn, at noon, at mid afternoon, at sunset, and at the afternoon. And the 5th one is the pilgrimage to Mecca. So for a Muslim, once in their lifetime, they should do that pilgrimage to Mecca. So just by talking about your religion or just by us talking about it, we're having this frank conversation. We're not in competition. We're brothers from another mother, but also from another faith and religion. And this episode, we've been talking about your religion, and that brings this to mind. So just by having this conversation, this dialogue, I would encourage other people out there, listeners, to speak to people from other religions and faiths, and coming to as an angle of education, learning. So before we finish up, so tell me that story when you used to stay in Leith, okay, and you go on your bicycle, and you use humor, which is quite important to educate kids, and the kids were saying they've obviously thought you're from a different religion because of your style with your turban, and so tell the story about the magic carpet.
Oh yeah. I think I've told you that before, I was in conversation, but that was quite funny. Yeah, when I came into this religion, I met a really good Sikh, and he says to me, it's so important to always smile. It's so important to emit really good energy, because that'll show. That's the first thing people will see is your energy. They'll feel it. They'll see it. So he goes, when someone says something negative, just try to even smile. He goes, you'll be surprised how much that can break someone. So I've always kept that in my mind. So that had to come into play one day when I left my flat. I come down the stairs, and there was a few lads outside, about 3-4 of them, young lads, and they says to me, "Oh, where's your magic carpet, pal?" And I says, "Oh, I put it in the garage for the MOT, so I'm walking today." And because I said that, and they heard my broad Scottish accent that I have, they were like, "Oh, are you from here?" I goes, "Yeah, I'm Scottish." I goes, I'm a Sikh, and I like wearing my uniform and things. And after them speaking to me for that kind of brief moment, it kind of broke that discrimination or that kind of anger they may had, whatever they had was going through their mind. They changed their mindset. They was like, and they actually even, by the end, I'm not making this up, guys, I promise you, and they were like, even a kind of apologize in a sense to say, "Oh, sorry." And he says, "You look really smart." So it all flipped round. But if I attacked them with anger, like crowed, and came across like that with an angry face, it could have changed the whole thing, and it could have turned out to be pretty bad for me, because it was 4 of them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it shows you, just with showing a bit of love and smiling, it can break someone. Love is strong.
Love is strong, and I think that's a really quite important way to end this as well. But I don't know if you noticed, I didn't have an orange t-shirt, but I've got a yellow t-shirt on just in support of your religion. My t-shirts also, for those people on Spotify, my t-shirt has rocks on it. So if everybody can find their own rock, not to throw, but to have something in themselves to say, have strong principles of charity. That's my rock, my morality of being kind, being humble, having compassion, having empathy, and these are all important, and also these episodes are unscripted. I use any thing I can just to keep us on track. So I just also want to thank again Liam Bailey for helping for the production of these YouTube and Spotify episodes. Also thank Rebel PT and Scottish Albert Society, and obviously the Edinburgh Sikh community and the Gurdwara. Also, as we do is customary, so I'll say thank you, shukran, and over to you, Danveer.
I'll say mercy and tanwad, which is in Punjabi, and thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, thanks everybody for listening. I will see you at the next one.